Hi, baby. Hi, Sosa. Hi, Keith. Hi, Chief Keith. Hi, Otto. Hi, Cyber Husband. Okay, I'm gonna get straight to it. A few years back, I dated someone. Um, I broke up with my prior boyfriend and I went back to 251 South Matheson and I left with nothing. My foster mom was like, just don't bring anything. I caught him. I walked in on him and another girl. Um, so I was really just taken back by that, um, which led me to um, this connection. So I'm back walking. I was working at J.C. Penney's. I'm back walking to the bus stop. I worked at J.C. Penney's in Carson Mall. So one day I'm walking and this car is pulling around the bend, and it's a very long bend to get to the bus stop to go to Carson. So the guy's like, hey, and my brother's kind of taught me don't answer to hey. So he was like, he said, Gloria. He said, I know you. And I'm looking at him like, huh? He says, I'm friends with your brothers. Um, um, Mama Jenny's is my like cousin or aunt. I'm Cosmo's cousin. Rest in peace, Cosmo. So I trusted to walk to his car. He was like, you need a ride? And I'm like, yeah. And where you going? To work. Where you work? Carson. Carson Mall. He's like, okay, bet. Dropped me off. Got to know, we're talking. And he's very cute. I'm so like, taken back and so grateful for the ride. And he said, you need me to pick you up? I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Told me the time. So the next day, he was like, you need me? Well, when after he picked me up, he was like, you need me to take you to work tomorrow? I'm like, yep. This went on for like a week. And then finally, like in the second week, he was like, well, I'm just going to pick you up and take you to work every day now, so you don't have to worry about catching a bus anymore. And he kept his word. He was there. He was there for like a month. He was just a great guy. And um, I started liking him. And then, like, we went on dates and stuff like that. And I think we got it in. Um, but we were more like kissing, and we were holding hands, and we were more passionate, like listening to music, having great conversation. It wasn't just always let's go get a room or something like that. We really like went to sit down and eat and stuff, just enjoy each other's company. But I was working most of the time. So anyway, then like the next month he was like, well, you want to come live with me? Because I had explained to him what happened while I was back at my foster care home. And he was like, well, you can come live with me. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, great. And I said, I can, contribute to the household and stuff. He's like, that's not necessary. He said, I'll still take you to work and everything. But yeah, you can stay with me. And then he was like, my mom, my sister, and my stepdad. And I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of people. He was like, well, my mom has terminal cancer. My sister's only like 7. I think Kim was like 7, and my foster dad is retired. Not, excuse me, his stepdad was retired from the post office, and he was on a breathing machine. So I was like, okay. So he was like, he called his mom. He was like, I'm bringing Gloria home. And I guess it was a discussion they already had. And when I got there, she was like a queen. They're from New Orleans. And she was just very grand. And I was taken back and I fell in love with her. And I was like, I'm going to take care of her and do whatever she asked me to do. I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky, to have a boyfriend that introduces me to his mom, and I get to live with him and his mom, because that's like a great thing in LA. Mom accepts you. So uh, but once Keith dropped me off and got me settled in his family's home, I never seen him. Like, he would pick me up for work and drop me off, but after that, it wasn't no kicking it. He was gone. and I was there caring for his mom and stuff like that. So we would run errands, and one day he and his mom and I, we had a great day, and we went to Carson Mall. We had our makeup done. We just did all kind of girl stuff, and just great time, mother-in-law, daughter. Um, so she had an appointment to go to the doctor, and her husband took her to the doctor, and the doctor, I guess, sent her with a prescription, I'll never forget it, of these green capsules, and her health rapidly declined. I was so angry at that doctor when I seen him in the hospital, and I told him to his face, once you gave her those green capsules, her health declined, because we were just shopping last week. Okay, so she was admitted to the hospital, and like I said, everyone was trying to, don't miss it, beat Keith or call, try to get him to let him know what was going on with his mom. So he finally showed up. He was in like he loved gray khakis, gray cords, gray and blues. That was his color. He showed up. He looked so cute, but you could tell he was just like he wasn't ready. And his mom called him in the room. They had their talk, and then she called us all in the room, and um, we had our talk. And so we went home that night, and I just was telling Keith how I miss him. I didn't think it was just going to be me and his family. He needs to tap in, home a little more. And he was like, do you need anything? I'm like, no, because he would leave money on the table and stuff like that. He would, sneak in and sneak out when we were asleep. And so we started getting our grown-up in, and I was crying, and it was something different about this time when we did it, because it was just like it was intense, and intense on a connection side. And I was crying as he was all over me, and I said, Keith, we're all afraid something's going to happen to you. And he says, I'd be in the studio. And I took because everybody was in the studio, everybody was rapping. He said, I'd be in the studio, and you know what else I'm out here trying to accomplish, right? And he says, besides, if something happens to me, I'm returning a rapper. He said the word, I'm coming back a rapper, as he was like pushing himself up beside me, bucking me. He's like, I'm coming back a rapper. And he was serious. And for some reason, I took it seriously. I was like, well, when you come back, take care of me. Come get me, because ain't no telling what my life is going to be like, And we just continued to love on each other. But that's what we said to each other. And it was like we really believed that. Like, it was no question about it. So, and I'm trying to eliminate the word come out of my vocabulary. So if it takes me some time to get a sentence that involves that word, I'm looking for a better word to use. Okay, so we have that connection right there. So his mom did, pass away, and being from New Orleans, I had never heard of it. Being from, Compton, California, she said, "Don't wear white at my funeral, Gloria," and she said, "Don't wear black at my funeral." So I wore white. She said, "Don't wear no dark colors. Celebrate me, don't mourn me," and stuff like that. So that's what happened. Um, But back to his mom, Johnny Mae was her name, and her husband's name, Elihu Lee. So if you want to fact check anyone who's watching this or listening, you can see that these were real people. And um, we get, her funeral it was what it was, but prior to her actually passing, she called, and this is how I know they're real angels. She called us all into the room one by one to talk to us, and then she asked us all to be here together. And Johnny Mae was like, she's like, "Oh, they're here. The angels are here to get me. The angels." And she took a deep breath and closed her eyes. Doctor, that was it. So that's how I know heaven is real. Okay, so funeral, and so Keith again wasn't never tapping in at home. Just I said, you know what, I'm not gonna be living here with him, with his father, taking care of his stepfather, and their daughter, his little sister, and by myself, and you never show up. Because he had asked me to, he told me to stop working, that he got me. So I didn't really want for anything, but I wanted him. I didn't understand my situation. I wanted him, and all what he was doing was looking out for me, because I didn't have anywhere else to go, to be honest. And working at JCPenney, my money wasn't up to get an apartment, a car, and stuff back like then. So I moved out. I went back to 251. Well, I actually moved in with the neighbor, paid her rent, called the list door, my same routine. Then I called his house one day. Sister told me that he was dealing with a Spanish girl in Gardena. And in Gardena, they call them essays. So I was like, okay, that's what's up. I'm happy for him. Tell him I said hi. Um, then, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or it could have been months, I'm not actually sure. His sister called me and said that Keith had been shot. He had been dead in his car for 3 days, and they just found him and contacted him. I was like, oh wow, yeah, it had to been months, because the way I should have been crying about the situation, I didn't. I cried more at his mom's funeral than at his, because I still had anger for him picking me up, inviting me into his family, and then leaving me, and I felt like abandoning me. And that's what I've been going through all my life, abandonment issues, being a foster kid. So um, I went to the repast, and it was him, because I couldn't believe it. And they don't call it a repast, the viewing. I went to the viewing, and like I said, it was him, but it looked just like a shell. Like, I knew his spirit was gone. Like, he was already in heaven with his mom. He was already good. That was just a shell, because some people look, dead, but it was just a shell. So life went on, and I met other guys in between, and things just like, I wasn't the life I was living, like, that 500. I wasn't trying to go to prison behind it, so I would venture off and do other things to keep myself safe, which turned into an addiction. So I went through that, and let's see. So I met, a couple guys that held me down for several years, like on this one. The guy in New Orleans, Joseph, he held me down for like a year, and Speedy, James, Julio. I've had some good men to hold me down, but was I going to commit to them? No, because they had some ways, and or they already had a family. So I was free. As long as I had a roof over my head, I was cool. I do whatever you tell me, but I'm not trying to have your baby. I'm not trying to be all bust up your family. That's just not in me. I'm a bohemian, and I like flowers, and I used to adore shopping, but here go to dry begging. My money ain't right to do that. And the only thing I really want to wear is a gold game. So, and have nice shoes. So, my brother, I kept dreaming of Hurricane Katrina. I kept dreaming the city was going to be underwater. So I'd had that dream for like 3 days straight, and I was like, God, it already to your kneecap when it rains. But then bad things started happening. My house got broken into. My bestie, she wrecked my car, and this is how God was really trying to get my attention and get me out of there. Her dad had a mechanic shop when she hit my car with a streetcar, the cable car. She paid me with tutus because I was a dancer. I danced at Big Daddy's. I danced, on Canal, and in Metairie at the Downs Lounge. So she paid me back with tutus. I was so mad. I was like, cut that friendship off. Um, So uh, I leave there, I get back to California, and the homies, they set me up. They got me a little apartment, gave me 500, and and the rent was 500. So I had to go get the extras. And I danced at Barbie Coast until I got blackballed for beating up a girl. And then the homies got me out of jail. Like, I've had real good guys to hold me down where I never had to call a family member for anything. It's been my street family, and they've all been guys, never been women. So I'm used to guys being my friend. And so my brother made a move, which got me to Nebraska. And then I ended up moving to Omaha because there were more black people there. And met my husband, which is now my ex-husband, and he held me down for a few years. But I told him, I'm going through something right now, and when I clean up, if you've treated me mean through this process, I'm done with you. And that's exactly what happened. Even though I've always had like understandings with guys I deal with. So I was like, but if we're gonna work this out, we're gonna be together. I said, if once I hit a certain age, you're not gonna send me to the streets an old maid, because when we met, I was 7 years older than he was. He was young. He was like 20. Matt was like 20 something, 20 something. I was 30 something. So, but he honored that, and he sent me out a divorcee because he got super mean. And he said he could only control me if I was on some bullshit. So I was like, this person is just here to destroy my life. I gotta let this go. And that's when I met Bye. So Brian was leasing a gas station at Amoco at BP, and that motherfucker was turned. And he allowed me to use my brain. He allowed me to feel safe and stuff. And he held me down for like 10 years. But then he just, up in one day and just was like, don't go to the gas station. I filed bankruptcy. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did this come up out the blue? I'm living in Bennington with a family he introduced me to, with horses, peacocks, living my best life. So I thought it was more of a resting spot, that when I wasn't at the gas station, I had peace because I had things around me that, I enjoy because I don't have kids. So um, I, I was lost because I moved from out there because I didn't want to live out there unless I had somewhere to go. I didn't want to stay out there and be out there all the time, and I didn't want to work out there because that community is probably only 500 people, 400. I was the only black. We were the only black family out there. I think it was one more. I'm not sure, but I was for sure we were the only black family out there. So I moved back to Omaha, to the city, to this apartment. Looked like somebody had died in it. I think it was blood. That was blood on the carpet and stuff like that. And like, I was really like down, depressed. People were laughing at me because he didn't leave me with $2. Held him down. I didn't even get my last paycheck. Held him. He's never even called to say, "Hey, you need something? Let me send you like three. Let me send you like 300. Let me send you some because Gloria, you were very good to me." He did say, "Oh, only I should have just kept you." And da, 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 da. I went through so much with him, but he made me stronger. I learned to, I got thicker in the game. My skin, like more tougher. Like, men with money, they gonna have women. Gloria, you better understand that. So, um, so like I said, I was depressed, and then I was on. My brother brought me a computer, and I was just saying, like, Lord, when I was living bad, doing runs, doing all that kind of stuff, bad girl. Then I turned good girl, squared up everything, and this shit happens to me. I'm back on my ass like I was when I was struggling, and to have nothing. So it was like when I was struggling, and it was just like, it wasn't struggling, it was challenge. It was like I had to survivor mode. I just had to survive because I didn't have nobody else. I don't have a big sister. I am the big sister. I don't have an auntie. My grandparents only had 2 kids, my mother and my uncle. My uncle, he do his own thing. He give a fuck, but he don't. He don't have no kids. My mom, she wouldn't have had 6 or 7 other kids. So I've always been on my own. And rest in peace, Trey Savage. This is a baseball bat playing right now. So like I said, I was depressed up in there, and I was like contemplating just going back, being an addict, just being a super hoe, not giving a fuck, just not care about nothing. Don't even try to do nothing. Just be a fucking bum, because that's where people want you, and that's how, it seemed like. But so, um, like I said, my brother brought me the computer, and I was just typing on Facebook how I don't like how people just changed on me. They looked at me different. They was laughing at me super hard, and just, they ride by with their head up way high, like, look at you, bitch, now you off, you ain't got shit, and that nigga didn't give you, you was loyal to him all them years. I was like, yeah, I felt like a real dumbass. And so when I pressed in don't like, Chief Keef photo showed up, or he was like leaning, and I did immediately think, God, that looked like Keith, right? So, like I said, I started listening to Don't Like It, and I liked it, and I started tapping into his other music, and it made me feel good because I understood. He kind of like educated me, and I understood, and I was current. I wasn't stuck on like what just happened to me. I got real current. So I started liking his music, liking his image, loving his image, loving his swag, just liking how he balled Tate out, Tato, how everybody was moving, and uh, I felt the losses that he felt when when things happened to him. I just would pray, and just like it was like a glow bubble. And then that's when I discovered like his clothing line was Glow Gang. Like I never really start connecting things, and I'm like, and where I really knew that you did something special for me is when I purchased the Glow Gang glow up hoodie with the Buddha on it, and he's holding a stack of money. And I went into my ex barber shop with that hoodie on. If you could have seen the hate in their face to see my name on something that was exciting, because they all wanted me down. They wanted me back, getting that pat. They wanted me back out there so they can all, get their little shot at me. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's demons out here to destroy me, and this one person is lifting me up and keeping me strong. Then I learned about uh, Glory University. Like I seen that, and in foster care, that's what they would call me, Glory. Where is okay? Yeah, because I want to show you this. Hold on. On the back of this photo, look, I etched some of it. I was cleaning the back of it, but look, that's what they would call me in foster care, Glory. That's me, a little girl. I had to wear tough skin jeans all summer. Because the foster mom caught her husband looking at me. She should have confronted him, because I sure did. He didn't die with that shit. Okay, so that was a connection. And then when I started going through your music catalog, like Back from the Dead, Keith told me he was going to return a rapper. Now, that's a lot to, that's not, it's something to process, because I'm a believer. So I want to thank God and thank your mom for having you, because you saved me, this one little lost person that's never had life poured into her, that had to figure things out, still do have to figure things out and live in a bubble. But I got a great person to live in the bubble with. That's how you became my cyber husband. Because let me show you my apartment. I know, man, you finna walk up in here and be with me. And look, that's you, the curtain. Wait. Glow gang. Glow gang. Always praying for you, Glow gang. Keep going on. Let me see. Here you go in the kitchen. You're right there. Okay. Glow. Glow gang. Look, we married. That's a bill. Glow gang. But in my bedroom, there are no photos of you or anything because it's all mental for me when I think of you at night sometimes. There you are in the bathroom. My bathroom is two-turned. Look at that. Oh, my bathroom is two-turned. Do I want a nicer apartment? Yes, I do. Can I afford a nicer apartment? No, I can't. Look at you right there. Oops. I'm naked. Let me sit down. Yeah, so that's the connection. And I just want to say, I want to meet you one day to give you a big hug.